Yo, what's up? This is the dead simple tutorial to Pixel Disco. So the way this is gonna work is first I'm gonna tell you how to do the trick. Then after that I'm gonna talk about the boring setup politics and stuff like that. So the character management up to this room is the complete same. So, I don't have extras turned on. Hold on. Very professional. Anyway, you play through this room without dying, maybe. And once you get to this room, you want to switch to Han with player 1 while Chewie goes to the speaker. And you're gonna start building immediately with Han. And so the way the setup works is that initially I try to sort of position Chewie's foot so that kind of upper left corner is in line with the upper left corner of the leftmost piece on the floor. This is just the initial setup. This is not the actual setup. You will see that there's actually pieces on the ground blocking Chewie's foot that is actually used for the actual setup, so that you have to actually build the speaker for a little bit. So in order to sort of be in the general area of good setups, you want to use that left foot of Chewie to sort of do an initial setup. So you're gonna build, and now you can see Chewie's back foot. There's like a pixel showing. So you're gonna tap left with the gun out. By the way, you have to have the gun out, and you're gonna tap left so that back foot over there is gonna start showing more and more from behind the speaker. And the idea is basically to have like a spike like that. So you can see that there's like a corner forming where the foot is sort of appearing on the left there. And you want that corner to be like 1 pixel, that there's as little of that spike visible as possible, but at least 1 pixel. So that's too far left. That's too far left. I'm gonna keep tapping like this to try to get in position. That's too far right. Too far left. Too far left. Too far right. Too far left. Too far left. Too far left. All right. This should work. So you can see that there's like very little of the spike showing. It's probably going to be compressed on YouTube, so I'm going to show you sort of images of kind of close-ups on how this will look in game. I will post those pictures in the description with titles for each, and so that you can actually see what's going on, because you probably can through YouTube's compression. So I know this will work. So you're just gonna build the speaker, and Chewie will clip out. And this is 100% consistent. Something to know is right now I'm actually like pumped. So you can see that left foot is sort of lined up with that left piece, but there's like a lot of the basically the entire back foot is showing from Chewie in front of the speaker. This means that you have been pumped by the wall, and you have to go up and tap left again, so that you're like in position again. That happens a lot on 50 hertz, so do not do this trick on 50 hertz. It's not gonna work. I may have done this trick on 50 hertz in runs, and it did not go well. And it's because of those pumps happening a lot more on 50 hertz. Another very important thing about this trick is that you want to basically, you will never want to miss this by going too far right, or to be too far right, which means that you get pushed up. You don't want that. You always want to go for this trick when there's a pixel of that spike that I was talking about showing like this, but this is too far left. And that's another skill with this trick, is that you have to know when you are too left. You have to sort of recognize when there's too much spike. A safe, very safe way to go for this trick is to just make sure that there's a single pixel sort of floating off of that spike. There's a very easy way to go for this trick. It's gonna work, but the problem is that it's obviously a bit more precise because there's a range of pixels that are gonna work. This is not pixel perfect. There's a range, and if you want to go for this trick fast in an 80% run, you ideally would want to have a bit more range on the pixels to have more opportunities to hit the trick, because hitting a specific pixel while tapping left like this, even on keyboard, is quite difficult. This is gonna work, by the way. I saw a single pixel. See. So the trick is free. I got it 200 times in a row. So, and this is gonna work too, by the way. Yep. So I can tell when it's gonna work, and I can predict that. And that's a very important skill. If you're practicing this, get into the habit of doing that. That helped me a lot. You wanna, before you go for the trick, predict that this is gonna work. And if it's too far left and too far right, or too far right, you want to recognize that and practice that and hone your skills and your eye for this trick so that you have the feeling correct. It's very important that you do so. But yeah, anyway, you might see that Chewie is on player 2 here, so you just do the out of bounds movement, but you do not do an auto drop out. You move Han onto that sort of middle line on the floor. I like to move it sort of to the right of that, on that right corner. And I'll move Chewie on the left corner with that spike. And that will hit the transition without dropping out. And you will have both players dropped in on this last room, so you can just hold sort of, I think it's up left with Chewie, and just shoot the box immediately. It's not gonna save that much, but this is the most optimal way to do it. Okay, well, I shot everyone. That's nice. And grabbing this power up is completely just, it's not gonna work. Trust me, it's really bad. So ideally you would probably want to kill all the enemies at the start of the room with Han, and move to the right here very quickly so that all the troopers aggro Han and spawn on that right side and leave Chewie alone. But obviously without the power up, this end room is going to be a bit harder. I would hope that, you know, the people that are actually good at this game, like Evan, Xenor, Jared, could kind of lap out this end room and sort of see how this could be played optimally with skipping the power up, which would decrease RNG, make this room marginally faster. It's, I think this way of doing it after doing Pixel Disco is the most optimal. It's just going to be a bit harder, and I myself I do currently lose like 5 seconds in the end room because I just don't play it well, but I think you can absolutely practice the end room the same as Pixel Disco and eliminate that time loss. And I think Pixel Disco is, to go into the politics of this, I think, so the reason why I think Pixel Disco is 100% consistent is that you are not relying on player 1 getting pushed by player 2 into the correct position, where after you are done with building, you basically just beeline to the correct pixel on the disco skip. We know that players getting pumped by other players is random, so in this setup we are not relying on other players, and you're basically just lining yourself onto a pixel and just clipping out. You can do this with any camera. It doesn't matter. You can fuck up the camera as much as you want. It's not gonna affect it because the amount of Chewie's foot showing from behind the speaker is always consistent on all camera angles, but obviously your movement lines are not in like normal disco. Obviously it would affect the tapping left as well, but because you're lining up against a object, you're the camera angle changing the amount you go left doesn't change the fact that you're still hitting the correct pixel. It might be harder, might be easier depending on different camera angles, but because you're essentially setting up on the correct pixel, it's gonna work every single time. And the source of the RNG, which I believe is the character bumping and the camera in combination, that's gone from the setup, and that allows it to be 100% consistent. But you do have to practice it. This is not free, but as you saw, I got it 200 times in a row. You can practice it, and that's with like 10 hours of practice on this specific setup. It's not that hard. It's slightly harder than spiderless, but this is something that you can go for in runs. Getting the maximum time save by lining up Chewie during the build animation with Han, that's kind of hard. Getting that full like 2 seconds of time save over the normal disco setups, that's not gonna happen every single time. But if you can get disco every single time first try, that's a huge advantage and a huge help for attempts or whatever. And I think that would pave the way for Carcoon to be more optimized as a level. So yeah, that's all. That's the Pixel Disco Dead Simple tutorial. I hope that helps. If there's any questions, ask me in the Discord. And yeah, get to practicing.